Hello, world. Good morning. I'm Joia, and this is the Founders and Innovators Morning Show. And today I'm so excited to be here with MH, who is the CEO and founder of Automaton. And we wanted to start our discussion today with something that I think doesn't get talked about enough in our entrepreneurial community, which is all about being both a mother and an entrepreneur. So tell me, what's been your experience with this phenomenon?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think as founders, we're almost taught not to talk about. Like anyone who has been a woman in a big profession, we kind of almost sweep it under the rug. You find that men have all of their pictures of their kids out, and women tend to not until really recently. It's something that I think is kind of perpetrating some of this mommy penalty myth in our society, where women are penalized in their careers for having children and men actually get a bonus. They're promoted, they're paid more when they have children. So it's one of those things that I think we have to talk about more and explore more. And those of us who are in the really fortunate situation to be a successful woman and mother, we have to run around screaming about that. Yeah, I'm a mom, I'm a startup founder, and I can do both. Probably not. I was going to say really well, but we're moms, right? Like passively well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a mother yet, but it's definitely something, my husband and I were practicing, but it's definitely something that's just on the forefront of my mind is how do you be a successful mom and a successful entrepreneur? So I'd love to even hear a little bit more about your story and some advice you have for those of us who are thinking about going on this journey.
Yeah, I think we're all thinking about it lately. Like if you look at Melinda Gates' Equality Can't Wait campaign, talking about how women won't reach parity in this country for another 208 years, which is just totally disturbing. And then you look at that this is happening when you graduate college or when you graduate graduate school, women are at parity. We have equal numbers of women, actually more women graduate college than men. And they graduate and they have similar salaries. So we're at near parity, but it happens in our late 30s when women really are in the kind of key child rearing age, whether you actually have children or not, that we start to see the parity decline. Yeah, it affects all of us. It's there's 85% of women have children by the time they reach 40. And so there's just kind of this sweeping generalization that happens with all of us. So I think we need to fix that. And so I actually didn't think of any of that when I started my company. I really started my company. I was a consultant. I wound up having to be a consultant because I was laid off while pregnant. And it turns out no one will hire a director or vice president who is very visibly showing. And I'm not one of those cute pregnant people. I'm one of those like big, fat, ugly pregnant people. And so everyone knew I was pregnant. And so I went into consulting kind of by accident, but wound up trying to build these massive technology teams and just needed a DevOps style testing and quality product for my marketing operations teams. So my engineers and I helped build an internal product, and one of our clients was watching me use it in a meeting one day. And he's like, "Ooh, what tool is that? I'd buy that." And all of a sudden, I kind of saw it as my ticket out of consulting. I admire the people who can do it, but it's wasn't built for it. So started. I think I was pregnant with my third when we started the company. I had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old at the moment. I loved that video of the executive on CNN where his kid strolls into the back of his video interview. I feel like that's pretty much all of my client interviews. Like they just accept that if I'm working from home, my kids are going to be there most of the time. It's been really a fun journey though. And I think the flexibility of, sure, I might work 12, 14 hours a day, but I can take an hour and go walk my kids to school and get to see their teachers and be a little more present and have some control over my day. So it's been a benefit being an entrepreneur, even in a space like our company does SaaS integration technology. So we help make sure that if someone's got their marketing stack and their ad tech stack, that all of those things are hooked up and working as you expect before you start pumping all of those millions of dollars into your AdWords spend, for instance. So for us, it's not something that's like kid centric, right? Like my kids being around doesn't help make my product better.
It's not a mompreneur business per
Yeah,
se.
exactly. We're
You're not selling baby food or baby clothes. Or
turns out that hurts us in funding, so it makes our funding journey even harder. But
why is that?
Oh, there was a really cool research done I think it came out about 6 months ago, where they showed that all of the progress that's been made in women receiving venture capital, all like 99% of that has been going into female focused industries. So women who are solving problems for women or solving problems for children, kind of gender lens based investing. So it hasn't really reached those of us who are audacious enough to try and sell something to enterprises, for instance. So it's the next problem we'll solve, right? We'll find a new problem every day and then we'll take that on too.
That's what we do as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So give us an insight. What is like your daily routine like being both mom and founder and CEO?
Sure. So most mornings I try and get up about 5 because that's, everyone has their own time when they're most creative and most effective. Mm-hmm. Mine is early in the morning. So I try and get up for a couple hours before the kids do and work. And then I head into the office generally about 7. And my husband, oh gosh, the work-life balance thing, right? Thank God my husband is so active and amazing. So he takes over the kids until our nanny gets there. And then I'm in the office for the morning. I wound up spending, as expected, half of it in meetings, the other half with investors right now. We're mm-hmm. fundraising. So that's a whole joy of like non-rejection. It feels like getting ghosted by a boyfriend in college. They're like, we love you. This is amazing. We're all in. So yeah, the investor thing is so like not rejection. It's such a weird little groove to be in, but we're officially starting raising in October. So hopefully mm-hmm. it'll get easy once we officially start asking. So I spend lots of lunches, lots of phone calls, lots of visits and coffees with folks right now. Pretty frequent trips to Silicon Valley. We're in Seattle, so mm-hmm. just a quick flight down. Mm-hmm. And then get home. I get home at 4 and I generally play with my kids at the park for a couple of hours, get them to bed and try and watch like Jeopardy, have a glass of wine and work on a blog post is my normal at the moment.
Nice. Let's dive deep into your work though, because I feel you're in just a really fascinating space. So tell me more about that. Like what do you see as like the really interesting trends going on?
Well, I think the SaaS trend is the one mm-hmm. that we're pretty directly over. Like there's tools like Zapier and MuleSoft and all of these really cool integration tools that they call it like democratizing IT, right? Like right. They let the everyday user be able to build their own integrations and build their own really cool tech stacks. And unfortunately, we haven't democratized the tools that allow you to scale that and do it with quality. So 78% of all marketers are running a massive technology stack. I mean, spending at the enterprise, they have 91 tools in their tech stack. And they're managing those without any support from IT and engineering, but all the really cool QA tools like New Relic or Circle CI or PagerDuty, all those really fun things to use, you have to be able to code. So we're trying to build a tool set like that the average business user can use to manage their technology stack, their Salesforce.com, their Marketo, HubSpot, things like that.
To me, that's absolutely fascinating because I see that as sort of this new wave of startups and entrepreneurial ventures. I feel like, 10, 15 years ago, when the startup community was really starting up, that's what it was. There was this opportunity for people who could code, for people who could be in tech to start up a company. And now I think we've reached this new level where because of all this exciting SaaS technology that's been developed and being developed, it makes it possible for anyone who has connection to the internet, who has a computer and a cell phone to be able to use this technology to build any kind of business, whether you're a coder or not.
Yeah.
it makes for an exciting new world that I think we're just stepping into. So I love to hear stories of companies like yours that are really making this possible for the everyday person who doesn't necessarily want to be a tech coder person to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great case. Hilariously for us, even though I'd manage development teams, I don't code much myself. I can code some in HTML and web development.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my original co-founders and I built the product partnering with a really amazing offshore team. So we built the product as an MVP, got it into the hands of customers, and our development just was going a little too slow, not having like a true technology co-founder, even though all three of us were pretty technical.
Mm-hmm.
And hilariously, we recruited our newest co-founder is a guy named Eric Peterson that we recruited out of Tableau, who's just blows me away every day with his level of talent. But when he got in and looked at our product when we were interviewing him, he was like, "Ooh, okay, I can see how this product serves the need, but you're not going to delight anyone with this product." And so I think sometimes the perspective of a technical co-founder to come in and really see things from that technical perspective can actually be pretty valuable too. So yeah, it's a really cool line that we could build something ourselves, but it's been an incredible value to have someone really brilliantly technical in our co-founding team.
That's awesome. So we're almost out of time, but for people who want to know more, how can they find out more about you, your company, everything you're up to?
Sure. We're our website's www.automatoninc.com. You can find the products. You can find our blog where we talk about women in technology and raising money. We can also find links to our new developer platform called Crank, which is really exciting. So it's a fun journey. And also, I would encourage any woman who needs help to reach out. Like I've been amazed by the women who've supported me, helping introduce me to investors and helping me get my head on straight and get through this. So please feel free, anyone who needs me, to reach out on LinkedIn. I'm LinkedIn/in/MH-Lines. Please feel free to connect with me, and I'm happy to give back to this community. They've done incredible things for me.
Yeah. So if you could give one piece of advice to all the women out there who are looking for funding for their company, what would that be?
There are a ton of blogs on Medium and Twitter. So I would be really good at starting there because the investors are telling you everything they want you to understand about them. And start with those blogs. Like there's great communities like the Female Founders Alliance, Women in Cloud. They have amazing resources, but sometimes we can be a little bit of an echo chamber. It's really a place where we get supported, not where we necessarily get the hard truth. So it's nice to hear the hard truth from the investors' mouths themselves. So Twitter and Medium seem to be where they're talking is where I'd look.
Where do you get the hard truth from?
I mean, I'm fundraising and selling for my business right now. So I get a lot of the hard truth and like just, waves, whether it's actual truth or it's their perception on a daily basis on phone calls and face-to-face meetings, my advisors. It's really fun.
Awesome. So close us out. So just tell us what you see next on the horizon for both your family and your business.
Oh gosh, I mean, I see my children with crayons and Sharpies running down the hall for my family. For business, I really see a tidal wave. Like this Melinda Gates stuff has really lifted me up in the last month. I see people really getting the bias. I think people have tried to solve the bias by putting women in financing position, but just because you have boobs doesn't mean you're not biased. I think this whole Equality Can't Wait campaign is really gonna kind of put a mirror in people's face, and rising tides lift all ships, right?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with me.
Oh, this is amazing. It's my first podcast, so thank you.
Well, you acted like a pro, so it's been great.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, everybody. See you next time.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe, review, and share this show. If you'd like exclusive content and behind-the-scenes insight, for just $4 a month, you can support us at buymeacoffee.com. Now, go make it a great day.